I went to Barnes & Noble today and I was looking around and found the new gold edition for Verity. And she's working it on the back. Colleen Hoover, yes girl, work, get it. You know, display yourself. We love that. Here's the cover. Same as the other one, but gold, obviously. So the difference between this one and the other one, let me grab it actually. So I have the first one and I already owned it. Here it is right here. And then this is the second one. It's new, so it's hardback, paperback. And the thing about this one is it has an extended chapter or an epilogue at the end. I think it's 30 pages or something like that. Let me see. 305 to 350 it looks like, and we're gonna read it together today. Even though it's just a few pages, I'm gonna let you know what I think, and then towards the end I will give away some spoilers because maybe you can't go and get the book, maybe you just want to know what happens, and I'll tell you at the end of this video. I have to be honest with you guys that Verity, the first one, I didn't rate it that great. I think I gave it 3 stars, and I don't know, so many people love it, but I didn't love it that much. Maybe the writing style, maybe the story. It's about a girl who kind of has a series of unfortunate events happen to her, and then she gets this, she's a writer and she gets a deal to finish writing out a book series for somebody else. Let me read the back actually. Okay, actually we're good. I was worried I was giving something away from the first book, but the first sentence on the back says, Lowen is a struggling writer on the brink of financial ruin when she accepts the job offer of a lifetime. Jeremy Crawford, husband of best-selling author Verity Crawford, has hired Lowen to complete the remaining books in a successful series his injured wife is unable to finish. And then all these things happen after the wife's accident. Lowen is going through all of Verity's manuscripts, all of her papers, everything in her office, and she finds something that kind of reveals spooky stuff about her and about her children and what her true intentions were with her children. Does she love her children? Does she not? Was she kind of being bad to them? Was she being good to them? And I think that's a decent synopsis without giving everything away. There's also a romance to the book, and you know, of course, because it's Colleen Hoover, she loves a good romance, and everybody loves this book. I was kind of disappointed when I read it, to be honest, and hopefully people don't come for my neck for saying that, but between the other thrillers that I've read, like the one from Alice Feeney, or all of hers, I think I've read most of them, it's just so different, and the writing was kind of off to me. But obviously Alice Feeney and Colleen Hoover are totally different authors, but sometimes when you're reading a certain genre and you read a different author, it just feels so different. So maybe that's why I didn't really enjoy it, but you know, it wasn't terrible. I read it super fast. It's kind of what her writing style is like. You just read it really quick. The font is pretty large too, so that's nice. I would say a cozy thriller romance type book. Cozy meaning it's not morbid or anything. But you might be wondering after I said all that, why am I reading the extra chapter in the Verity book if I didn't even like the first one? The ending kind of left you on a cliffhanger, and I'm hoping that this book will kind of recover this book with the last chapter, give us more of a wrapped up ending. And if you read this first book, then you'll know what I'm talking about. It wasn't wrapped up super neatly, and it was kind of, oh, it could be this, it could be that. So maybe I'll enjoy this more now that I get an extra chapter and see what happens. But okay, if you can hear crunching in the background, I'm sorry, but I don't want to take away my dog's bone. She seems too happy about it. But I have read the first 10 pages, and a lot of it is from Lowen's perspective, and he's having a lot of inner dialogue, and it's not much conversation until a little bit later. She's talking to Jeremy a little bit, but really it's just an intimate, spicy scene, and that's all I've gotten so far. But it's not much dialogue at all. It's just her kind of having inner thoughts about what has happened, what she thinks about it, and yeah, I don't want to give anything away in this part of the video, so that's all I'll say. Again, this is when I'm giving away the spoilers of the last 40 pages in the epilogue. It starts with saying the setting is 6 months later, and Lowen is talking about becoming a parent, what it's like to have her baby. Her baby's name is Nova, and she had this baby with Jeremy. Obviously, at the end of the last book, she was pregnant. She's talking about whether Verity's writings were true or not, that she thinks she was a bad mother because, or she wasn't sane either way, because after having a baby, she knows she would never be able to write something so heinous about her kids right after they died, whatever the purpose was for those writings. Then there's a spicy scene, very typical of Colleen Hoover. They are living in North Carolina by Cape Fear River. She said it's brackish water. It should be the best of both worlds, but really it sucks. So she's just kind of complaining. But they moved away to get away from the old house since she was having a new baby, and they wanted to take Crew to the beach. So Jeremy, Nova, the new baby, Lowen, and Crew are all at the beach. And then a lady walks up to them, and Lowen is thinking about how she looks really familiar, but she's not sure why she looks familiar. The lady goes up to talk to Crew and then comes up to Lowen and says hi, something about Crew. So Lowen's having inner dialogue. How do I know this lady? Who is she? Is she gonna know about what had happened? Do we know her? Is she, because they've been trying to hide themselves from the murder. They changed their last names all to Lowens, and she's wondering who this lady is. The lady's questioning who the baby is, if she's the mother, when was she born, and then Lowen figures out that this is Patricia. And if you guys don't remember who Patricia is, she's from the first book, and she thought she was friends with Verity, but I don't think Verity even liked her. At least that's what Jeremy said. Who knows if he's telling the truth. But she knows about Verity, so she knows the history behind Jeremy and Lowen, and can kind of put the pieces together that they had this baby right at the death of Verity, which is really suspicious. And they're really worried about what she will tell other people from their hometown. Now, another little piece of this chapter is that Jeremy is into running now. So while this is happening at the beach, he's on a run, and then he runs back up and sees Patricia with Lowen. So they have a conversation, and Jeremy's kind of freaking out, and Lowen says she hears this tone of voice, and it reminds her of only one other time in life, which was when Verity was murdered, and he said that he would be right back. So he said he would be back, that she needed to put the baby and Crew in the car, so she did that. She's kind of freaking out because in her gut, I think she knows what's going to happen. He saw her approach Patricia, and he drowned and murdered Patricia. It's the second woman that he has killed. And now it's even more confusing of who's sane and who's not. Once they get into the car, Crew is mad at Nova, yelling at her to be quiet. Lowen has had weird suspicions about Crew before, and she was talking to Crew one morning while she was pouring coffee and saying, "Aren't you excited for your new baby sister?" And he said, "No, it doesn't matter, she's gonna die anyways." So that gives another eerie vibe to the chapter, which was kind of a theme in this whole thing of who's sane, who's not. We don't really know. And then they get back home, and he goes into his room to clean up. Jeremy goes into his room to clean up after the murder, and Lowen is having inner thoughts about if she is an accomplice or a liability. She's not sure if he will one day turn on her like he has on these other two women, and he tells her Patricia drowned Lowen, just like he said about Verity. Verity died in her sleep, basically kind of saying, this is really what happened. If you say anything, I'm gonna get you. Is kind of the undertone of that. So he's taking a shower, and of course what she does to please him, because she's worried, does she compare to Verity? Is he gonna go and try and murder her? She gets into the shower and they have a spicy scene. I don't know. And then when Lowen and him finally wrap up what they're doing, she goes into Nova's room, the baby, to see what she's doing. Obviously, she's a baby, she'll be in her crib. And she wasn't in the crib. So Crew was out there watching TV, and she asked him where he was. And then, you know, of course she's yelling for Jeremy. Jeremy. And they come in there, ask Crew, and he said that she wouldn't be quiet and that he was trying to watch his show. And they asked where was she, and he said she was outside. So he put the baby outside. They ran outside. It's dark. The floodlights come on, the automatic floodlights. And they find the baby Nova. She's out there crying in the middle of their lawn. Can you imagine seeing your neighbor's baby in the middle of their lawn? That's terrible. So they found her, she's safe, and she's saying in her mind, Lowen thinks she needs to leave. Is it because of Jeremy? Is it because of crew? She doesn't know. How is she going to protect Nova? Jeremy comes in and apologizes. She doesn't know what for. Is it because of crew? Is it because of the woman he had murdered? And Jeremy's watching the news. They found Patricia, but they deemed it as an accident. But who knows? Maybe there's an investigation that will happen. They don't say that, but I'm guessing. It still gives the open-ended ending type of vibe that it did in the last book. And Jeremy had said everything is going to be fine, and she is thinking nothing in my world is fine. I sleep next to a man who has killed 2 women he has deemed as threats. I sleep down the hall from a disturbed child who has seen more trauma in one lifetime than most in entire families combined. And then there's me, still keeping score with a dead woman and somehow losing the game with my mind. Nothing in my world is fine. Oh, it kind of rhymes. We can try to run from the Crawford name, but in the end, another tragedy will always be patiently waiting for us. We're nothing but a family of chronics. The end. That's the chapter. If you didn't want to buy it, or if you just wanted a synopsis after you read it to see what I think about it, I think that it's another open-ended ending. I'm sure there's a better way to word that, but whatever. And it gives you food for thought about, even more so about who's crazy, who's not. Are they all crazy? Are they all just trauma filled? And, you know, will they recover? Has Jeremy just gone rogue? Is he just a murderer? Will he murder Lowen at some point? Will he not? Is Lowen at fault for not saving these 2 women? Is she just gonna, her inner dialogue just gonna eat herself alive? Will she even survive after these things of guilt? And did Verity actually do what we thought she did in the first book or not? We still don't really know. Just for her peace of mind, Lowen told herself that she did, but who knows? And that's the end. That's what happened. I think it was a pretty nice epilogue. I don't know my full thoughts. I still think Verity was 3 stars for me, and the epilogue keeps it at 3 stars just because of the way it was written. I don't think it was too scary, and just some of the writing was weird. She was saying something about a like Achilles on her heel, I don't know, and it just didn't really compare to anything. Why was she saying that? I'm kind of rambling at this point, and I still give this book 3 stars, but it's very entertaining and original plot, at least from the books that I've read. I haven't read anything very similar. And it's a very pretty cover, so that's a plus. I hope you enjoyed, and bye!